Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to this thing that I do called Thor's Entertainment. I am Thor. It is Friday again, so it is time for another Fatal Friday video. Fatal Friday is a series where I look back on videos where I casually went into the Kombat League for Mortal Kombat 1, and I tried pulling off a character's unique finisher like a Brutality or a Fatality. This week I am doing my very last video where I play as the main roster character Kitana, and I am going to be highlighting her long distance fatality Royal Blender. As with almost all of my Kitana videos, the cameo character that is going to be helping her out is going to be Jax. And with that setup out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the Kombat League set.
I need your help to train the Empress.
What can your sister possibly learn from me?
The random opponent that I got in the Kombat League had a pretty good record for somebody that I got to go against, having 16 more wins than they had losses. This was also somebody using the main roster character Smoke and Khameleon, who I think was pretty new at the time. As you can tell, things got off to a pretty horrible start against the Smoke user. I just kind of failed to get anything going early on. By the time the first round was over, it was a landslide victory for Smoke where I failed to even inflict 200 damage. I do not think I have lost that badly to somebody using Smoke since I went into the Kombat League for the very first time. That was back when I was still playing as my first character, Reptile, right after the game was first released. All the way back then, Smoke was by far my worst matchup. It took me way longer than it should have to figure out how to play against that character. And it definitely took me a long time to start picking up wins against anybody using Smoke. After those early days though, I did end up stacking up a pretty good record against Smoke, but you would not guess it after watching this first match. Although the second round did go much better than the first. It still wasn't good, but it was better. I at least managed to drop Smoke close to 30% health. I didn't quite manage to get him below it, but it was very close. Although after dropping Smoke to that low of health, momentum kind of swung back in his favor and things did not go too great for me. And when it was all over, it looked like my opponent was trying to go for the Khameleon fatality, but I guess they hit the buttons wrong, so it did not work out for them. Hopefully, I can keep things moving in the right direction and Smoke and Khameleon do not get any more chances to pull off a fatality. While the second match is underway, I mentioned that this is my last Kitana gameplay and the last finisher I'm going to be doing with her. Prior to now, I've done a video of me pulling off every other Kitana finisher that she had back when the game was first released, and that was kind of my goal for every character that I took into the Kombat League. For the DLC characters, I was just trying to get all the finishers they had whenever their character was first released, but all the other characters, the main roster characters that came with the game, I was only focusing on the fatalities and brutalities they had around that release time. I know since I stopped playing the game, all the characters have gotten new finishers like new brutalities, they brought back animalities, but I am not going to be picking up the game again to do those. So all the finishers in these videos are just going to be the day one finishers that were available to that character. And I finally took a round in this set. It took me 2 matches to pull off, but it's better late than never. And as I am watching this back, I have to admit that I am glad this is going to be the last finisher video that I need to do for Kitana. You have probably already seen what I'm about to mention in this video, and it's also present in some other videos too. But I just did not have good execution with Kitana and the cameo Jax in the Kombat League. That is really unfortunate because this is a pair that can do some really fun combos, and in practice mode I was able to pull those off just fine. That did not really translate to success in the Kombat League though. Whenever I had moving targets that actually wanted to fight back, it was much harder to pull off those combos. So rather than doing the 300 plus damage combos that I was getting in practice mode, I was struggling to just consistently break 230. I still think this pair was a lot of fun to use, but I kind of lacked the execution to make them look good whenever I was doing these videos. Fortunately, other characters I used in the Fatal Friday videos were much more intuitive for me to learn. So it's not like I was struggling this badly with every other character. And in all fairness, I may have even done better with Kitana had I just given her a different cameo, but I was pretty committed to trying to make these two work. So the second match of the set came down to a third and final round, and I was on the verge of losing the entire set. Smoke had a pretty decent life lead against me, and I was forced to use my fatal blow just so I had the chance of making up the difference. Fortunately, I got Smoke airborne, and the fatal blow landed. Smoke does survive though, so this is not over yet. After that, I managed to get one more lucky pop-up with the fan, and I managed to cling to my 200 health points, and the match was a victory for me. I managed to make the comeback. I can admit right now that was a pretty lucky win, but it did not matter. The winner of the next match was going to win everything.
You are Kuai Liang's adopted brother.
His father's honor demanded that he take me in.
The beginning of this third match had me a little bit worried. I start off with an okay combo for decent damage, but then things start to slow down quite a bit for me. I was struggling to get anything going for so long that I felt like I was playing the first round of this entire set over again. Fortunately, my thoughts were just being a little bit dramatic, and this round was nowhere near as bad as that one in comparison. But Smoke did have the life lead, and I was yet again barely clinging to life. Not to worry though, I had some lucky BS left over from the previous match. And just when Smoke was in knockout range for a fatal blow combo, he got popped up into the air, he lacked the meter to break it, and I hit the fatal blow again to bail me out. And yet again it was going to do enough damage to give me another round victory.
Take two. Action!
So, stop me if you have heard this one before. Smoke got off to a really good start. I was struggling to get anything going, he had an early life lead, and I was having to fight my way back into relevancy in the round. Only this time I would not have a fatal blow to bail me out anymore. Fortunately for me, it was not going to be necessary. After going below half health, the momentum completely shifted. I managed to corner Smoke and I kept him that way for almost the entire round. And while he was stuck there, he was getting battered and losing health very rapidly. Eventually he resorted to a desperation fatal blow. Against Smoke, that is a very easy up block and a punish, but Smoke barely survives and starts hitting me back. Just before I could get nervous though, I used my armored wake up to slash my way to victory, and I just had to get far enough away for the fatality. And I just could not get far enough away fast enough. Oh man, that really sucks. That was a good fight. I lost early, but I did manage to pull off some very close victories and make a comeback and win the entire set. And I won dramatically with multiple fatal blows. This was just a really good match to conclude with a fatality for this video, but I messed it up. And now I need to go back into the Kombat League and find somebody else to earn this against, so let's go ahead and get started. I am not really sure why I decided to return the main menu here. That might have been a misclick or me just not thinking that through entirely. It definitely would have been a lot faster to just go ahead and go for the next opponent, but that's alright, it is only going to be a brief delay. And then I get my next opponent and it's time to go ahead and get started. Alright. We went from fighting somebody using Smoke who had 16 more wins than they had losses. Now we have been randomly paired up against somebody using Raiden, and they have 15 more losses than they do wins. So nearly the complete opposite. Now I don't want to get cocky here because anything can happen in these fights. I mean, just look at the lucky BS I pulled off against Smoke. But I am feeling very confident that this is going to be the fight where I get the inputs right and I get the distance right and I actually pull off that fatality. And yeah, the first round of this match is exactly why I should not be getting cocky all because of somebody else's record. I had a really good life lead early on. And then everything went sideways in about the same amount of time it took me to blink. Because my life was reduced to below 30% health very quickly and I had to use all of my meter to break Raiden's fatal blow or I would have lost that round. Fortunately, that sacrifice was not in vain and I do end up winning the round, but still, I nearly lost complete control of that situation and that's not a great feeling. This person was actually giving me a run for my money. Round number 2 goes much better. This Raiden likes to teleport and then also use the electric fly quite a bit. I do not end up taking as much advantage of that as I possibly could have, or probably should have. But this time I do manage to hold on to my life lead and I do not give Raiden a chance to come back in this fight. So our first match is going to go to me. And I'm just going to need one more match under my belt, one more victory to win the entire set, and then it is going to be fatality time.
Finish him. Kitana wins.
Speaking of it being nearly time to do a fatality, I should probably mention how I like to handle fatalities in these videos. Now, you can do a fatality anytime after winning a match, but I prefer to wait until I have won the second match because that also means I have won the entire set. And the reason I wait to that point is because I feel like anyone can luck their way to a win at least once, but when I win the entire set, it makes me feel more like I've earned the fatality. That, and if I did a fatality every single time I won a match, it would definitely be dragging these sets out even longer. Now, I did not always have this rule, like back when I was still using my first two characters, Reptile and Natara. I did not necessarily hold myself to that rule, but still every other character that I have used has had that rule in place, and that covers most of the time that I've been doing these videos. Although I do approach brutalities completely differently just because they are a little bit more difficult to get than the fatalities because brutalities have way more requirements and fatalities are almost free as long as you win the match. So the first round of the second match was again really close. This time no comeback was required though, it was close the entire time. The second round though, that one was nearly a disaster. For the first time in any of the fights against this person, I had to make a tiny comeback of my own. Raiden ended up cornering me and I had very little luck getting out of that situation. By the time I did manage to escape, I was on really low health, but my fatal blow was available. After chipping away at Raiden a little bit, I began to just run away and wait. I had a really dumb plan and I wanted to do it. I was waiting for Raiden to do the electric fly. The moment I saw that animation start, I was going to activate my fatal blow. I did not even know if I could take the damage and live, but I wanted to do it. Because if I did, I could armor through the attack and then win the match with a fatal blow. Now, there ended up being some improvising in the middle of that plan, but eventually I saw exactly what I wanted and I went for the fatal blow. Alright, it's fatality time.
Fatality. Kitana wins.
And I did it. I managed to live on just 4 health. And that is 4 health out of 1,100 health points. I think most character and cameo combinations only get 1,000 health, but Jax actually gives you more. And apparently I needed every single bit of that health boost from Jax in order to win this fight. Anyway, that was the Royal Blender Fatality for Kitana, and this is going to be my last Kitana video. And maybe you can tell why I saved this one for last. I definitely did not pick it because it was my greatest display of Kitana's gameplay. No, this one was selected purely due to the absurdity of how frequently I was just barely winning, and how much I got bailed out by the fatal blows in multiple fights. At the moment, this is definitely the video where I landed the most fatal blows. But yeah, finally got the fatality distance right and I got the buttons correct against this Raiden user. Speaking of which, sorry I had to do that to you random Raiden person, it really should have been Smoke. But I am terrible at pressing buttons, so here we are. Although thank you to both of the random opponents that I got in the Kombat League. The sets were fun and I felt like I lucked my way to victory a bunch, which is always kind of funny to watch back in hindsight. And yeah, now it is all over, and I will be sure to show the fatality one final time at the end of this outro, that way we can enjoy it one more time before we part ways. And yeah, Kitana gets added to the list of characters I've done all their day 1 finishers for. That company mostly includes characters like Reptile, Natara, Omni-Man, Sub-Zero, and I think Quan Chi. The next character I complete all the day 1 finishers for is either going to be Tanya or Scorpion. I'm not sure which, but I know both are very close to being done. And considering the order these videos are released in is kind of random and dependent on my mood that day, I couldn't really tell you which one is going to be first. But it is definitely going to be one of them. And yeah, I had fun playing as Kitana, even though my gameplay was not the greatest with the character. It might have been a little bit different if I picked a different cameo. Things may have gone a little bit smoother, higher damage, all that good stuff. But I really wanted to make the combination of her and Jax work, and in a way it kind of did. I still walked away with more victories than losses, even though the gameplay was not the cleanest. But I guess that does not really matter. I got the job done, I had fun, and we got all the finishers, so that is good enough for me. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to check out all the other stuff I have on the Thor's Entertainment channel. I do have other finisher videos for Mortal Kombat 1 just like this. Those can be found under the Fatal Friday playlists. And then I also have playthroughs of the story modes for certain Mortal Kombat games as well. That would include Mortal Kombat 9, 10, 11, and of course Mortal Kombat 1. Then I have also played through entirely different games like the remakes of Resident Evil 1 and 2, and also the remaster of the original Crash Bandicoot. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, feel free to check it out. But yeah, thank you again for watching the video, take care, and hopefully I'll see you next time.
Fatality. Kitana wins.